around Tanzania, this being the 9th day of December 2025.
All right, so it's a great show. We'd love to hear from you as well this morning. Some of your thoughts, comments, perhaps concerning the issues that we will be talking about just before we conclude the program. So how about we get it started? Now, authorities in Tanzania have advised residents to remain indoors and refrain from participating in a nationwide demonstration scheduled for Tuesday. Security officials in the country have prohibited the planned protest, citing concerns over public safety. Speaking on behalf of President Samia Suluhu, the Prime Minister clarified that only individuals performing essential duties or whose presence is required at work will be allowed outside. The government's directives aim to maintain order and minimize potential unrest during the anticipated demonstrations.
Nimewaita hapa kujaribu kutumia vyombo vyenu vya habari kuwaambia Watanzania maandamano hayo ni haramu, hayaruhusiwi.
Serikali inawashauri wananchi wote ambao tarehe 9 Disemba 2025 hawatakuwa na dharura kuitumia siku hiyo kwa mapumziko, hivyo kusherehekea siku hiyo wakiwa nyumbani, isipokuwa kwa wale ambao majukumu yao ya kazi yanawataka kuwepo katika vituo vyao vya kazi kama ambavyo wataelekezwa na viongozi wao.
And of course, it is interesting. This comes on the backdrop of deadly elections, which, you know, Samia Suluhu, according to the poll agents in Tanzania, won by 98%, and they are to celebrate 62 years of independence today, but there is nothing quite independent about it, is there?
Okay, sometimes you have to do your math, you have to do your analysis and see maybe you've been serving in a place for some good time, or you've been in a place for a very long time, and at the end of some times, even if you stay somewhere in like 1 year, that is what you receive at the end of the year. Sometimes you find you're having end year celebrations, and now this is 62 years of independence, and it's like for maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, or let's say maybe 3 years, these people have realized that we're living in a country whereby you have to be very free. We have to do things as right as they're supposed to be and constitutionally. But we found that we are not doing things as they're supposed to be done, and our rights are not being observed. And the responsibility of our leaders towards us and what they're supposed to do to us, they are not being done or taken too seriously. And today being the Independence Day, there are people from Tanzania, they said that they'll be having a peaceful protest, but the Prime Minister said yesterday that the only people doing or even taking essential duties and responsibilities, there are people supposed to be out. And yesterday we saw clash, is it clash shopping, or people trying to shop in a rush to take care of this day that they're not supposed to be out. And I think constitutionally you're supposed to protest. It's your right to protest, your right to picket, it's your right to demonstrate. If at all you're not intriguing or even you're not entering into someone's right negatively. Yeah, and you know, it's quite disturbing that you know, it should be a normal day, essentially. If you look at Independence Day celebrations, it's actually supposed to be a day where people are outside, who are celebrating, go for the national, you know, celebrations, wherever it is they're supposed to be, and then people actually just enjoy a good time at home. But for you, because this sounds like a curfew and reminds me of the COVID-19 period, where you are told only essential services are supposed to be outside. So you're talking about guys like the media, doctors, security officers, perhaps just people that you cannot live without this particular service for a day. And so for the Tanzanian government to add people to stay at home on a day that's supposed to celebrate Independence Day from Britain, you know, colonization, is just, it's worrying, and it's such a bad spotlight that Samia Suluhu finds herself in. It is barely a month since they did their general elections, and we can see this taking place. And one statement that Suluhu said is that the wastage that you brought during the demonstration demonstration, the eve of general elections demonstrations, the money that could have been used today for celebrating the independence, 62nd year of independence, that money will be used to compensate, or even to replace all that went into wastage during that time.
That's quite not right, because I believe that for every country, this kind of public holiday, normally there's a budget for it. So for example, in Kenya, on 12th, we'll be having our Jamhuri Day celebrations. It didn't just start today, the preparations. This began a few months ago on where the celebrations will be held, and there are any renovations that are supposed to occur. And so for the Tanzanian government to come out and say that the funds meant to organize these celebrations will be channeled to something different is totally untrue, because the celebrations and the preparations didn't just start today. They started a few months ago, and this is not the first time they are holding it. I mean, they've had it yearly. So it raises a lot of concern about the honesty of the Tanzanian government.
And then again, I think you said that these funds are already set, and they're set in a good time. And I'm wondering, this brings in the honesty of these people, and our corruption sometimes ends. And after they say these funds would be used to maybe to replace all that went into wastage, how are we sure? We'll be taking audit of what this man will do after they say, you're not celebrating today, you're supposed to be indoors for the whole of the day. Then we will make sure that this money is well appropriated and will be used well for the growth, and maybe for replacing all that went into wastage during that time. So I think that gives a very big loophole into people going into corruption, going into deep lines of graft, whereby you lose money. You just need to, because it's about replacing what went into wastage, and maybe the buildings that were brought down during that day, during the demonstrations. You find that maybe you allocate like 100 million for maybe certain building that need to be redone, and you say, I'll get an advantage, I'll get my 20 million here. So I think it has to be very strict. Even if something has taken place today and celebrations were to be done tomorrow, I think that won't stop celebration from taking place, thinking, or even it becomes like a national heritage whereby you have to celebrate.
And the US government has spotlighted Tanzania and says, they will be reviewing the relationship they had with Tanzania. The Commonwealth, as a group part of Commonwealth as well, has been able to raise concerns over what they say is, abuse of human rights, abuse of rights of citizens, democracy rights. So they're truly under the spotlight, and today will be a critical test for the government of Tanzania, whether or not, number one, people are going to come out, or has the intimidation really taken over? Are we going to see people that will come out, and how will the protests be? Will it be peaceful? How will the response of the security organs be? So quite an important day beyond Kenya's borders.
Yes, but I think we always talk of the Constitution that gives someone right to picket, to demonstrate. And sometimes I feel we may decide as citizens it to be peaceful, but because of the kind of intimidation that we are put in, or even we are forced not to come out, and it's all right to do that if at all we do it peacefully. So I think the infiltration, I think it brings in the issue of us not making the demonstration become very peaceful. And one thing Samia Suluhu, the president of Tanzania, has, I think she's been going overboard, is the issue of saying that majirani nisiwaone Tanzania. So we don't want to quote, or even we may not know who the majiranis are, but I think there is a way it comes to a point whereby you have to carry your own cross. Don't say that there was infiltration. Don't say that these people from this country came here to help people from Tanzania. We want to trust that people of Tanzania are so independent. People of Tanzania are so bright enough. They are well informed to know that this is our right and this is how we are supposed to be served by the government. So the issue of saying it's like you're pulling other people to come into your mess, so that if at all it ends in a bad way, you'll say that this and so these people from foreign, people from this region helped us to, or even helped the people from Tanzania to do this. So it's good to take your own responsibility, and as a leader you have to know, I'm not serving these people well. So if at all they call me out, I have to respond, and I have to be very responsible with what I'm doing and what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, so before we move on to the next story, I'm just looking at Tanzania's constitution, and an Article 21 of the 1977 Constitution of the United Republic of Tanzania gives every person the freedom to freely and peaceably assemble. And of course, the Police Force and Auxiliary Service Act of 2002 also established that an assembly of 3 or more people who do not obey orders to disperse when requested will be classified as an unlawful assembly. So that is something that we'll be keeping out. But at the same time, human rights defenders have called on the Tanzanian government to respect and safeguard the right to peaceful demonstrations, urging authorities not to undermine civil liberties.
Speaking at the Kenya Human Rights Commission offices in Nairobi, the activities emphasized the need to protect participants expected in a planned peaceful procession scheduled for Tuesday.
They stressed that ensuring the safety of demonstrators is a fundamental obligation of the government.
The activists also went further, demanding the resignation of President Samia Suluhu to pave the way for the establishment of a transitional government.
They argued that such a move is necessary to restore confidence in democratic governance and facilitate political reforms in the country.
More than 4,000 deaths, thousands injured, and thousands more dragged before courts on trumped-up charges. Families have been denied the dignity of burial, bodies have been disappeared, hospitals have been raided, medical workers are being threatened or abducted for treating the wounded. The targeting of religious orders, including allegations of rape and brutal intimidation, has deepened national trauma.
The establishment of lopsided government-controlled commission into violence that is still going on is not an act of accountability. It is the architecture of a cover-up. There is no commitment to independence, impartiality, or truth-telling. Suluhu has already predetermined its findings by branding peaceful mobilization as manufactured unrest and framing citizens as threats to national security.
As Kenyans and East Africans, we want to assure Tanzanians that we stand with them during this difficult time, and tomorrow we will be in solidarity, we will be with them in prayer, and also in action.
Down with Samia, down.
Down.
Down with Samia, down.
Down.
Watanzania waungane wasiungane.
Waungane.
Watanzania wasimamie haki zao wasisimame.
Wasimame.
All right, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, has revealed that its intensified investigations and proactive enforcement operations during the 2024-2025 financial year helped prevent the loss of public funds amounting to 16.5 billion Kenyan shillings.
The highest value protected or recovered in recent years. And in a statement on its annual performance, the Commission said it processed 4,103 corruption-related reports during the period leading to the opening of 1,846 investigations across various sectors of public service.
According to the EACC, bribery emerged as the most prevalent form of corruption, accounting for 37% of all reports received.
This was followed by embezzlement of public funds at 19%, unethical conduct at 13%, and fraudulent acquisition at...
The Commission convened a high-level National Ethics and Integrity Conference to address the alarming rise of falsified academic and professional qualifications. Kenya must never become a society where shortcuts supersede merit. Integrity must be upheld across every stage of our national development pipeline. It is very sad that even very senior people in government are operating under false documents, forged certificates. It is an embarrassment to our society. If you want academic qualifications, We have more than enough universities in this country, and you can go there at any time. It is not like the old days where once you left the education pipeline, you could not go back. Now you can go back. Recently I saw a 92-year-old who had gone back to do KCSE. It is never too late. So please, let's not take shortcuts. Let's follow the right channels.
Away from the EACC to matters election stakeholders have called for the immediate arrest and prosecution of individuals accused of disrupting peace during the recently concluded by-elections, warning that failure to address electoral violence could jeopardize the credibility of the 2027 polls.
Speaking during a post-mortem review of the November 27 by-elections, the leaders expressed concern over the growing use of violence and intimidation during electoral process.
They noted that such incidents not only undermine democracy but also pose a serious threat to voter safety and public confidence in elections.
Candidates who participate in the by-election decried the lack of adequate security, saying their safety remained compromised even after the conclusion of the polls.
They urged relevant authorities to investigate reported incidents and hold perpetrators accountable to deter future electoral violence.
As I talk, after voting, I could not go home. After I was announced the winner, my family cannot access home. And we are here playing like, yesterday we buried a friend with a gun wound. Yo bunduki walimpiga nayo, sio ya polisi. I want to thank my RO, nimemwona hapa. Bana Lumiti, you are a good man.
I don't know whether those goons have specific labels for the officers to know that these goons belongs to the government, these goons belongs to the other party.
You want to secure an illegitimate victory. Then unasema you are a leader. And the manner in which you secured your victory is questionable. That to steal election in this country is an impossibility.
Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi has pledged to spearhead President William Ruto's re-election campaign in Siaya County and surrounding areas, citing the president's commitment to the local community through tangible development initiatives.
Speaking at Mabinchu village in the South Game constituency during the launch of a rural electrification project, Wandayi also challenged elements within the Orange Democratic Movement leadership to be consistent in their statements regarding the broad-based government.
He criticized those engaging in doublespeak, describing them as selfish leaders attempting to undermine the strong working relationship ODM has with the president.
Around development, Wandayi highlighted that the government has allocated over 2.2 billion Kenya shillings for rural electrification projects in Siaya County during the current financial year, with 250 million set aside for Game constituency alone, aimed at providing electricity to over 4,000 households.
He further noted that the government has spent billions on other projects that ideally fall under county government responsibility.
If you want to run for president under ODM, please go ahead. What we are saying is that as a people, as the people from this region, as members of the Luo community, it is only logical that we support Ruto so that he gets his second term and he forms a government with our votes in it. So, we have had very many governments in this country since we got independence more than 60 years ago. We have also had very many presidents. Tumekuwa na serikali nyingi na vile vile tumekuwa na marais wengi sana tangu sisi wananchi wa Kenya tupate uhuru. Mheshimiwa Rais Ruto ndiye rais wa 5 wa nchi hii. Na kwa hakika Mheshimiwa Rais Ruto ndiye rais wa kwanza, kulingana na mimi, ndiye rais wa kwanza kutambua hawa Wajaluo kama Wakenya kamili. Niseme nisiseme? Nitoboe nisitoboe? Yeye ndiye rais wa kwanza kufanya uamuzi ya kwamba maendeleo yakitekelezwa nchi ya Kenya, sehemu zote zishughulikiwe, ya kwamba nchi ya Kenya ikisonga mbele kimaendeleo, lazima kila sehemu ijumishwe katika mpango yake maendeleo. Mheshimiwa Rais, lazima mjue ya kwamba Siaya County iko ndani yake na Game constituency iko ndani yake, na vile vile South Game iko ndani yake. La muhimu, it is for the first time the national government has allocated substantial amount of money kwa hii county kwa mambo ya kusambaza stima. Kwa hivyo naelewa yale ambayo mimi nasema. Mimi siwahi unga tu mtu mkono ovyo ovyo, na siwezi nikisema Mheshimiwa Rais Ruto anastahili kuungwa mkono na jamii ya Wajaluo, nina hakika hiyo ndio njia safi, na hiyo ndio barabara Mheshimiwa Rais alituonyesha kabla yake dunia. Ndio sababu naunga mkono huyo mbunge wenu.
I mean, the politics of 2027 are in top gear.
Yes, and if you feel that you're weak in a task, if you feel that you're not fully prepared, I think you have to start your journey early a bit, because you're looking at the oxens, or the plural of ox ni watu wa Kizungu bwana. Yes, oxen. But oxens can also be put into place if only it is used in the possessive form. So we've not misled you for that. Yeah, so sometimes you look at what is ahead of you and you feel that the journey is long enough for me to prepare early. Yeah, and as yesterday we also saw the issue of it's like everybody, every political party and team wants to pick or even to absorb Kalonzo. So actually it's a preparation, and one thing is a preparation whereby I have to prepare myself early to say that maybe I'll be clinching the position that I need come 2027. But on the other end, I'm looking at the responsibilities and the duties of a CS, and it's like every person, every CS is involved in active politics, of which Constitution does not allow this to take place. And if this happens, I think every CS, every PSS, I think will take into position, they'll start campaigning for the person or for the people they feel they're interested in. So we need, I feel this is something that need to be so much discouraged.
Right. All right. So allow us to take a quick break at that point. When we come back, we'll be getting into the newspapers. Stick around. Don't go too far.
Good morning once again and welcome. This is Morning Live, Jeff and Cynthia. And now, sometimes we need to unearth, sometimes we need to look at things that used to take place some good times and some long time ago. And I remember when I finished class 8 towards Form 4, or even towards completing Form 4 there, I'm looking at how hectic to have your idea, how the process was a bit long, how the process was a bit hectic. And we're looking at a place whereby things, because of maybe technology, because of issue of graft, because of issue of corruption, we're looking at how things are being simplified. The same thing, we're looking at someone going through a process, or even going through a recruitment. They've not qualified, or even they've not hit the target qualification that they need to have for them to qualify for a certain position in a certain job environment or in a certain institution. That's when at the end of it all you find results that are coming out of the company because they recruited and put into place someone is not well qualified and fit for that job. That's why you see compromised results. And here we're looking at the issue of issuing IDs to foreigners, and it is coming in a very simple way, so expensive, but in a very simple way, in that once you bribe, once you give out some few coins or even a good amount of money that is very colorful, that is very shouting, that is when you easily get to have your ID without even going through a lot of process. And someone, a big person in this country some few days ago said that if you need to have your ID within 1 day, you can have it. But we understand that nowadays, for you to replace your ID or even getting a new ID, you have to get it between 2 weeks to maybe a month. And now we're looking at a place whereby, because maybe you're paying for it, because you're using your financial muscles to get, or even to get issued with a new ID as a foreigner, you just get it within hours or just within 1 day, which is the danger that we are facing as a country over this issue and this scandalous issue of issuing IDs so easily to foreigners. A question that you need to ask yourself. Moving quickly to the newspaper review, we're starting off with the Standard newspaper, the Kenya Sport newspaper, then moving in to the Daily Nation. On top of the Standard, the ID scandal, and it is called the identity theft. The arrest of 26 suspects in a fast-growing citizenship for sale racket has added fresh urgency to concerns that President Ruto's decision to scrap security vetting for ID applicants in northern Kenya and other border counties has opened a dangerous loophole. Critics who want the decree would be exploited now feel vindicated as racketeers, rogue clerks, and middlemen collude to dish out Kenyan nationality at a fee. Investigators say Northeastern has emerged as one of the biggest beneficiaries of the fraud, with criminal networks exploiting the relaxed rules of slip foreigners through the fraud, with criminal networks exploiting the relaxed rules to slip foreigners through the system and undermine national security. And the top page of the Standard is highlighting some very key people who are concerned with this ID issuing scandal. And we have Jawar Mohamed Muse, who is Isili North Assistant Chief. We have Mohamed Isaac Gedo, Isili Assistant Chief, and David Koril, Registrar of Persons, Head Office. We have Maulid Yusuf Dige, he's a businessman. We have Judy Kemundo Ondari, Registrar of Persons, Embakasi, and Abdi Rashid Mohamed Ali, Clerk, and Shima Group International, Ruth Osebe Sukuru, Registrar of Persons, Kamukunji, and Geoffrey Makoro Mutani, Clerk, Immigration Head Office. And if you need this story, you can just check it from page 4 and 5 of the Standard newspaper. And it is called a lucrative racket. 7 million Kenya shillings, highest price Somalis and other foreigners are paying to acquire Kenyan citizenship documents such as IDs, passports, and birth certificates.
Yeah, I mean, wow, this is an issue that was raised by a number of stakeholders. And I'd love to point out George Natembea, who's the Trans Nzoia County Governor, but also the former Rift Valley Region Commissioner. And he specifically talked about the dangers of relaxing a vetting of national identity cards in terms of the security aspects of it and perhaps the corruption bit of it as well. And for this report to now come out and indicate that somebody somewhere is willing to pay up to 7 million shillings for an individual to secure a national identity card because the vetting process has been relaxed. So in case you're wondering what was the vetting process like, when you get to, let's say, 18 years and you're not born, for example, in Kajiado County, you were born in, let's say, Machakos County, but you lived in Kajiado County. Now, you will have to go with your parents, sit down and face a particular board that includes the chief and other persons, you know, for them to be able to vet you, where your parents are, where have you schooled, where have you grown up, what places do you know, before they can hand over that registration of the ID card, which subsequently gets the ID. But now this relaxation brings into perspective really a lot, especially for the northeastern Kenya, because this is the region that has been, you know, the spotlight has shone on it, where, you know, it's just on the border of Somalia and just the security aspects of it, because we all know Somalia and just the living conditions within Somalia, and just how many people may be willing to move to Kenya because now we have relaxed the vetting process of the national identity cards, and that's a big security lapse. Now, the president recently was in Garissa to attend the wedding of a particular gentleman in Garissa County, and he reiterated the same issue on the national IDs, and says that the region has been sidelined for a long time. It doesn't have a lot of people from the area, so this relaxation will allow young people within the region to come up and be able to get national identity cards. I believe they can still get the national identity cards, but now the Kenya has to now deal with the repercussions of scrapping off that particular vetting. Yes,
and I'm looking at who is benefiting from the same, because looking at, as I started a bit of a small history of how we used to acquire our IDs some few years ago. It used to be a long process, and one of the things that maybe you could have feared for you to go and to a station that issues IDs is number one, hakuna mtu ashawahi kupiga picha, so you wondering how will I appear on that my ID. So that's looking kind of a high stake maybe procedure that you have to take for you to get an ID. We used to pay like 100 Kenyan shillings, and that time it was a bit big amount of money, but you can't compare it to what we're seeing these people from northern Kenya getting. You have to give like 7 million for you to acquire just an ID.
And I'd love to pinpoint that there's so many counties as well that are on the borders of Kenya. You've got the northeastern region with counties on the border. You've got the western region with counties like Bungoma, Busia on the border. And so this does not mean specifically that it's the northeastern Kenya that has been targeted. It's just that this is the region where now these cases are becoming more predominant, with the money in place. I think it's a good, we put that disclaimer so that let it not be that it's just northeastern Kenya, but it was a concern across all counties that are on the border of Kenya and other countries.
Yes, so I was talking of the issue of who is benefiting from this, and after you benefit, are you looking at the future after you issue IDs to these people? And number one, if we're looking at a normal Kenyan, if you just hit your 18 years and you have to get an ID, you either have to part with not more than 1,500 Kenyan shillings to acquire to have an ID. And we're looking at the comparison here. For you to get this ID, as far as this scandal is concerned, you have to give like 7 million Kenyan shillings. That's why they're calling it lucrative racket. Now I received the money. And I think the person on top here is President Ruto, with the decision to scrap security vetting as far as ID issuing is concerned. And we're looking at the peace of this country. We're looking at the stability of this country and the peaceful volatility of this country. After you get this money, because if at all you've not gone to school and learned of small issues that you need to be going through or even engaging with or interacting with when you're just in this country, I hope you could not imagine that an ID could cost you 7 million Kenyan shillings. So what is coming into an exchange? Are we exchanging our peace? Are we exchanging are we exchanging our peace for 7 million? Because we are not told the number of people who are getting these IDs through or by giving the 7 million Kenyan shillings. Try to think 2 million people are targeted for this, and you do your maths, and what do we give back for this?
Yeah, and that shows you just how valuable the national identity card is in Kenya, because if you look at just what the ID does for you, major transactions, when you're dealing with the registration of a SIM card, you need to have your ID. You want to apply for a passport, you need to have your ID. Your driving license, you need to have your ID. Sometimes even places that you're renting, as you go to rent, you're given a document, you also need to submit a photocopy of your ID. So it's such a critical document in Kenya, and you'd understand why there's sort of like figure for it, 7 million shillings or something in the million shillings for you to get it. So it's very critical. You've raised an important point on, are we exchanging you know, the security status of the country for this. The big question will be, what is the end goal? What is the end goal? We've had previous presidents who really didn't relax this particular thing, or this, you know, vetting of national identity cards. But, you know, with President William Ruto coming into place, this began about last year. He now spoke about, you know, scrapping off the vetting to allow this region for people to be able to access identity cards to be what? To actually register as voters. So the big question is that the end goal? Is this just about getting people to come in and vote for us in 2027? And then we say thank you very much, and then what next? And so you've raised a very key question, and I think that is something that is very critical. What is the end goal? A lot of security officials, especially those who are very honest, may not really understand the reason why this is being relaxed, and they may understand that it's very critical and it's very serious, because you're going to have a lot of I'd say foreign forces come into Kenya to get the ID card, and you know, have they been vetted, their background? Are they people that can be trusted? Are they people that can come in and help boost the economy, or are they vice versa? So it is very important that as much as we are talking about 2027 and getting voters in, but let's not do that at a cost that will be very you know, essential for Kenya. Yes, and I'm trying to calculate, if at all you have to acquire the citizenship of this country, you can't do it at the cost of 7 million Kenya shillings. So I'm looking at, I'm trying to paraphrase a verse in the Bible that says, money is the root cause of all evil. And yesterday, a few days ago, and this was on Thursday, we saw our President Ruto in conjunction with other presidents signing a certain deal, and I'm very sure that you can't sign a certain deal until you promise something. And now we're bringing in these people, they are getting their ID with 7 million. And what if these people vote and they say that they are just allowed to be in Kenya and they want their money compensated? If at all it comes to a point they start grabbing our lands, they start saying that this building, this portion of land maybe around CBD belongs to me, how will you take away this? How will you get them out of this after you sold the citizenship to this at around 7 million Kenya shillings? How will you move them? Yes. So that is the main story and the key story on top page of the Standard. Now I'm just highlighting some few stories that you just need to read. Page 2, first ever KJSEA exam results put new school curriculum to the test, and Saudi envoy not immune from prison in labor abuse raw. And this is page 3 of the Standard. Page 4, the politics and perils of relaxing vetting for IDs in northern Kenya. A lot of notes there, a lot of ideas there, so you just need to do it. And page 4 of the Standard. Then police march Kenyan citizenship cell syndicate suspects arrested. And the last 2, we have Tanzania marks Independence Day amid youth fury and protest. And there's something that I just want to read to you before we move on to the Daily Nation. And yes, it is on page 2 of the Standard. Nephew of DIG's Deputy Inspector General Masengeli charged in alleged 2.5 million fake police jobs. Get a copy of the Standard and see more of these stories. All right, top of the Daily Nation, I'd love to pick up from a story that has been highlighted on the Standard, and this concerns the education sector. So top page story revealed how to get top senior school slots. How to get top senior school slots. Now about 1.1 million learners will be transitioning from grade 9 to grade 10 come next year, January 12th. Now grade 10 learners will know the senior schools they will join before Christmas Day, with top candidates assured of their preferred schools. So candidates with automatic admission to boarding schools of their choice will include top 6 learners per gender in each STEM track per sub-county. I'll take that again, top 6 learners per gender in each STEM track per sub-county. Now STEM is the science, technical and mathematics. And so if you've got the Makadara sub-county and you had top performers in this Makadara sub-county, 6 male, 6 female of them will automatically be placed in the boarding schools of their choice. Subsequently, top 3 learners per gender in each social science track per sub-county. I'll use the same example. Makadara sub-county, if you've got 3 top learners who performed brilliantly in the social pathway, they will get to go to the boarding school of their choice, as well as top 2 learners per gender in each arts and sports science track per sub-county. So you also have the arts and sports science pathway. Top 2 learners male, top 2 learners female will get to go to the boarding schools of their choice. Now, I'd love to pinpoint that with the CBC curriculum, it takes a 2-6-6-3 kind of model. And so learners will be getting into grade 10 next year, and this will be from January 12th, 2026. Now, essentially what you had before was they have done their class 8, now they get to join Form 1. But now it has changed because we are slowly phasing out the 844 system. So it's grade 9 learners who are domiciled in primary schools will now get to join senior schools, what we've been calling high schools. So if you go across the country, if you went to School A, high school, it has now been changed to School A, senior school. And so that is something that I'm sure you've really noted across various schools in the country. So there are clusters. Previously, we used to call them national schools, extra county schools, county schools, sub-county schools, but now it will be cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, cluster 4, respectively. So it's a race to ensure that these 1.1 million learners actually get positions to join in this senior school to continue with their CBC education after they did their KGCEA, Kenya Junior Secondary Education Assessment exams about a month or 2 months ago. So that's the reporting structure. It will also be based on how have they performed. Now, contrary to the previous 844 system where you'd get marks, you've got 400, 300, this is now about expectation. Have you exceeded expectation? Have you performed below expectation? And that is what will be used to, place your learners in grade 10. So you are going to get this just before Christmas if you're a parent to a grade 10 learner, so that you can start preparing in advance for them to join senior schools. And so if you look at the cost of it, it may really be almost similar or vary compared to how they will join high schools. That means if they're going to boarding schools, you're going to have to prepare buying boxes, buying uniforms, buying school shoes, buying uniforms, etc., and perhaps even more textbooks, because this is sort of a different system. They have got 3 pathways. So a national school is going to offer all 3: STEM, social sciences, arts, and sports sciences. Now, if you look at the extra extra county schools, some may offer all, others may just offer 2 pathways. The county schools, some may offer 2 pathways, while the sub-county schools, some may offer just 1 pathway. So depending on what your learner wants to be and how they performed well in mathematics or sciences, then they go the STEM way. Did they perform well in the languages? They may go the social science way. Did they perform well in the sports sciences? They may go the arts and sports science way. So it's quite complex, but at the same time, it's perhaps a good system to enable learners in advance choose what they want to be, follow that pathway, and become skilled in that pathway as early as grade 10.
Yes, that's good. And what I can add on top of that, what you've clearly explained is that I know a lot of people are confused with this system. They've not understood it very well, but I know as it comes into our systems and into understanding, I think it will be so helpful. But what I need to pinpoint is very clear that what we used to do, as you've said some good years ago, it was all about the marks that you've scored that will push you into the next level, maybe from class 8 to maybe high school. And now it's about the expectations. And the expectation, I think, does not come, it comes from the student or the pupil first, but I think there's a team that is helping someone to understand that you need this. You don't have to go through this way. You don't have to take a lot of subjects for you to maybe acquire this. Because at the end of the day, you'll find that I did a lot of subjects, but they did not help me. So I think it is a very nice system whereby it will help you realize yourself early enough. It will help you notice yourself early enough. And the resources that you have and the time you have will be very well and carefully used to mold who you will become and to make who you want to be in future.
Yeah, so that is concerning how the senior schools will be. So we'd be happy to hear from you parents. If you're a parent of a grade 9 learner now heading to grade 10, just have you understood this system yet, and how different is it, do you feel, to the 844 system? From where you sit, is it brilliantly doing well? There are still concerns that have not been addressed. Yesterday we were having the papers here as well, and we spoke about how the TSC says they will require more teachers, because if you look at the pathways, this means they require a teacher who has specified in some things, you know, within this pathway. If they have done music and arts, then that means maybe all senior schools may require a music and arts teacher, compared to previously where some schools had music and arts, others would offer foreign language courses, others would offer home science, other schools there was none. So this means if it's a senior school, then and a top one for that matter, they may require teachers who do music and arts, teachers who can teach foreign languages, teachers who can teach physical education, as you can see. So it's quite wide, and so this means many schools, we need more teachers. But the problem is the TSC says at the moment, they don't know if they can do that. So there's also the teacher ratio that has been highlighted. Now quickly as well, one more, or at least two more stories. We've talked about the Tanzanian Day ahead, and just we'll be looking to see how this 9th of December turns out as they prepare to celebrate 62 years of independence. But are they really independent? Because there's a curfew in place, they've been told to stay home, and so that is also one of the stories. Now ESCC says state and county officials are looting public funds, and that is the enemy within. State and county officials are looting public funds, and this follows a report they released yesterday on the 2024-2025 annual report on the war against graft. Now they say they've been able to at least help maintain about 16.5 billion shillings, as well as IBC laments politicians tried to influence poll officials. Now ELOG, the Electoral Observers Group, however, says different, says politicians actually influenced the outcome of the polls, but IB says the process was free and fair. So quite conflicting statements from the two agencies. Yeah,
it's their responsibility, and they have to call out everything done negatively towards such an exercise. And this being the by-elections that were done 27th of last month should have become, and we've been saying that is a litmus test for them come 2027 general elections, and now they are lamenting for the first, and it was a very minor exercise, actually mini polls. So I wish to say that there's no politician who is supposed to be above IBC, because they are the people who gives them the validation to go out and politic around, and then they say that maybe politicians try to influence, and you are the overall. I think you're just sleeping on your job. If at all, you have to decry that. Yeah, I mean, concerns were raised really about the elections and just the scenes that we saw on that particular election day. But it will be a question on, you know, are some of these reports verified? Are some of these allegations, you know, with evidence, are they substantiated for that matter? Or just people making noise about it? So it will be interesting to see. Actually, there are some few by-elections that will come as well. Yeah. Because there are some areas where the MCAs, for example, David Ndakwa of UDA in Malava was an MCA, so that means he moved to the MP position. That is a by-election in itself that is to come. So the IBC still has a couple of elections to conduct as well in the near future. Before we go to the general elections, there is a very key story that I've seen on page 3 of the Daily Nation, and maybe we have to go there maybe within 1 minute. From there we see who is interacting with us. Is it page, yes, it's page 5 of the Daily Nation. Carnage, 2,400 pedestrians, motorcyclists died this year, and it's a reminder that it is Christmas season, and the caption or the headline on that is "Be careful on roads, motorists urged as festive season starts." And we've been talking of all this, and someone could wonder why I always keep on mentioning Christmas, why I always keep on mentioning this month. It is a very crucial month because, as I said yesterday, people feel that this may be the first Christmas I'm celebrating, so I'm I have every desire to see it. Others may feel that maybe this is the last Christmas I'm celebrating, but that notwithstanding, we have to understand that we have a future. Maybe you are driving on a personal car, you have your family there, and why should you be rushing? You are traveling on a matatu, and you just put in the vehicle like sacks of maybe waru from Kirinyaga. So I feel this is a season that we need to be very careful, we need to be very vigilant. We need to know that we are here to live, we are here to stay, and we have a lot to do, not to finish with just 25th alone. And actually nothing much takes place on 25th. It ends like, yes, it ends like another day. So we just need to be careful on our roads. And I was to say there is an accident that really happens as an accident, but there is an accident that comes into place or even comes into happening because of our carelessness on our roads. So if it's an accident that was to be, we have to analyze and see, yeah, this was a serious accident and it was to happen because of these reasons. But others and a lot come into happening because of the carelessness that we have on our roads and thinking that hii barabara ni yangu, I want to prove that I have a good car. No, that competition during this festive season, we have to just put it off as we get to another year.
Yeah, and I've seen some of you have already started traveling, so be very safe on the roads, travel safely, and remember you also have a responsibility as an individual. When you board a public service vehicle and it's being driven recklessly, you've got the right to actually speak out. If the driver is intoxicated, you can speak out. If you feel or you can hear some mechanical problems in this particular vehicle, you can also speak out. There is personal responsibilities begins at that point. So I'd love to say thank you very much to Mike Nyamai, who says good morning from studio watching. Thank you very much. Dina Mwani as well says good morning, Jeff and Cynthia. Good morning to you as well. Losweti says good morning from the studio. Good morning, Losweti. As well as Getche says good morning from County 047. Asante sana. We appreciate your feedback this morning and you for watching. So we'd love to wrap it up at that point. But remember, coming up top of the hour is Your Faith Today with Reverend Felix Kavoy. You definitely do not want to miss that. My name is Cynthia Nanjala.
Please don't go too far. We have a lot lined up for you. My name is JKS.